Hi there. Tonight I have a dinner inspired by my trip to the farmer's market on Saturday. And one of the vendors had ground lamb, and this is South Carolina lamb. So, that makes me happy. It is from Fat Mountain Farms and it is from Hemingway, South Carolina. So I saw the lamb and my very first thought was lamb meatballs and rice just popped into my head. And then another vendor had all this beautiful fresh mint. And I thought those two have to go together. And this is what I came up with. I abandoned the meatball idea because I didn't want to have to make bread to have breadcrumbs because I don't have any breadcrumbs here. So we're just going to do it like a bowl style. So here we go. So for this dish, the tzatziki is something that you can do in advance. And in fact, you want to kind of start it in advance because I like to let these cucumbers kind of sit and drain of as much moisture as I can. So to start that, I'm going to grate 1/2 of a fairly good size cucumber. Now, while I gather the rest of the ingredients for the tzatziki, I'm going to let this sit and drain, and we'll come back and wring it out and see how much moisture is in there. So for the tzatziki, you want about a cup of Greek yogurt. This is some Greek yogurt I made yesterday. So I'm just gonna leave it in this container and make it in there. And another good reason to make your tzatziki a little early is it's going to get better the longer it sits. And I'm going to do a 1/4 to a 1/2 teaspoon of fresh cracked pepper. I'm going to do a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1 clove of garlic that I'm going to mince. And you really kind of want to mince your garlic here. The finer, the better. A tablespoon of fresh lemon juice. I'm going to do 1/2 tablespoon extra virgin olive oil, 1 whole tablespoon of chopped fresh dill. And then we're going to wring those cucumbers out, all of the moisture, as much as you can. So I'm going to mix this really well and pop this in the fridge until we're ready for it. All right, so another aspect that we can get done a little bit early is the mint. I'm going to call it pesto because we're kind of making it in a pesto style. And we're going to cook the rice in. So in my little food processor here, I have a cup of fresh mint, loosely packed. I'm going to do 2 green onions, and I'm going to do the green and the white parts both. I'm just going to give this a rough chop to get it started. I would do lemon zest. I would do the zest of a lemon. I don't have anything here to zest with. I don't have a microplane, so I just kind of did it myself and cut some little julienne sticks because it's going to be okay because it's going in here. I'm going to do 1 clove of garlic. I'm going to do a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. And now we're just going to puree this in the food processor. So I'm just going to come in and just scrape it down and give it another run through. You might feel like you want to add a little more oil if it's not really breaking up on you. I don't want too much oil here. I don't want my rice to be oily. But you could do, if you need to, a little bit of stock. Whatever stock or water you're cooking your rice in, you could add a little bit. So for the rice, you're going to have 2 cups of chicken stock. So I think I'm just going to steal a little bit of this. And now I think it looks perfect. So now this is ready for the rice. So now that we've got our tzatziki done and we've got our mint pesto done, we're ready to get cooking. So I'm going to do the rice first. And I'm using my Ralston rice and I'm doing the basmati. And I'm going to do 1 cup of that. And what I want to do, I'm going to get my little pan heated up here. And I'm just going to cook this pesto for a minute or 2, just kind of waking it up and bloom that mint. So now I'm going to add that cup of rice, and I just kind of want to toss that in there. Just kind of coat those grains. And now 2 cups of, I'm using chicken stock, any kind of stock you would like. I want to bring this to a boil. Once this comes to a boil, I'll pop the lid on it and simmer it for 15 minutes. So we're waiting on our rice. We're going to get the spice mix for our lamb together. I'm going to do 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and then I'm going to do a teaspoon of cumin, and I want to do a teaspoon of coriander. But I don't have any here, so we're just going to go poof, teaspoon coriander. We're going to pretend 1/2 teaspoon of paprika, 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. You be the judge of how much you want on the crushed red peppers. Teaspoon, 1/2 teaspoon. So I'm not going to start even cooking the lamb until that 15 minutes is up on the rice, because that's got to sit covered for 5 to 10 minutes. And in that time, we will cook the lamb, and then everything will be ready at one time. Okay, we're ready to go. I've got the rice coming up on that 15 minutes, and I'm just going to take that off of the heat. I've got my cast iron heating up over here, and I'm just going to do about a tablespoon, 1/2 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil, and I've got 1/2 of a red onion that I've diced up, and I'm just going to give that a minute to cook and soften up. Now I have 2 cloves of garlic. Actually, I think that was 2 to 3 cloves of garlic. And we're going to give that a minute. And now in with that lamb. Breaking that up, and I'm going to go ahead and do all of that seasoning. I like to do my seasoning now, let it cook with the lamb. And it just infuses into the meat, and it helps the oils and those spices to waken up. All right, so our lamb is done. And rice should be done. I've got a whole lemon here, and I've cut it in half. I'm going to do half of that lemon into my rice, and the other half I'm going to do right here on top of my lamb. Give that rice a fluff, mix that lemon up in there. Doesn't that look beautiful? So now I know I'm kind of calling this like a bowl, but I'm putting it on a plate. I don't have a big enough bowl. So I'm going to go down first with this rice. I'm going to make sure that's all mixed up, and then top that with that beautiful minced lamb. It smells so good. So now we have the tzatziki, and I don't really want to just plop it on, so I think I want to kind of zigzag it. So I'm going to put it in this bag. Tzatziki on top, and then I want to finish that with some feta. So I'm going to crumble a little feta on top, and then it's going to be dinner time. So here we go. Farmer's Market inspired mint rice with spiced lamb, tzatziki, and a little feta cheese. It's amazing. Thanks, y'all. I'll see you later.